Make it work, make it right, make it fast. Take over coffee. Then we play those nice music. Okay, welcome to another episode of Tech Over Coffee. I'm your host, Young Dev. And today we're just talking about the fundamental principles to discuss. We have the fundamental principles to discuss. Make it work, make it right, and make it fast. This is just a conversation. What is happening? What I'm just thinking about this topic. You know what I mean? So, I was having a chat with one of my colleagues, and then he was like, "Full to be specific." And then he posted something like, "Make it work, make it right, and make it fast." And then I was like, this is a great phrase, man. Why are you taking that? You know what I mean? So I was like, okay, let me think of something and then let me just record an episode. So it's not gonna be a long one. It's not an official episode, but I'm just gonna post it because it's based on what I think about this and that. So yeah, so this one will just be an audio podcast only. No, I'm lying. I think we'll have a video edition for this one. Basically, definitely gonna have this one. Okay, but then now here's the question: what are you making it work? What are you making it right? What are you making fast? I'm sure you've guessed it already. Now we always talk about software development. We always talk about software engineering. So on our first episode, we spoke about how to plan a software project. You know what I mean? So right now, I'm telling you how to make it right, how to make it work, and make it fast. What are you making? You're making a software project or a software system or a software application. You guessed it right. Okay. So this is a very, very, very core a fundamental or crucial part when it comes to software development, right? And we'll try to dive deep into this and see what it means to say what I mean when I'm saying it's crucial. But it's just based on what I think. It's just what I think, right? Okay, so make it right. So the first principle is to make it right, right? So this is now in the early stages of development. Remember, we spoke about planning a project, planning a software project, and so forth, develop a software development life cycle, and all those kind of things. You know what I mean? So now in this case, we are in a very, very early stages of development. Your primary goal is functionality. You want to make sure that your functionality is 100% okay. You know what I mean? So you write the code that accomplishes the intended task. You already have an idea. You already have a vision as to how you want this thing to work out, how you want this application to work around. What is the problem? What is the solution for this problem? What is the architect and so forth? All those admin have been handled, but then now we are focusing in actual development in this case, right? So you're trying to write a code that accomplishes a certain task. You know what I mean? So this means now you need to understand the problem. Remember when you did business studies? I don't know how many of you did business studies. It's called what, problem development cycle, something like that. Understand the problem, identify the problem, and so forth and so forth. So I'm coming back with that now. I'm telling you that now you need to understand the problem, right? Break this problem into maybe microservices. Okay, no. Let's not be too technical. Break it down into maybe like manageable parts. Yeah, let's call it manageable parts for now. Just break it down into manageable parts and write a code that produces the desired outcome, right? Make sure you keep it simple. Just keep your code simple and don't worry too much about efficiency. At this point, you're trying to make it work. Don't worry about catching. Don't worry about efficiency. Don't worry about security and so forth. No, we're just trying to, don't worry about solid principle, you know, things to make clean code and all those kind of, don't worry about that at this point because you want to make it work. You know what I mean? You're just trying to make sure that you want it to work. Make it work. That's it. As long as it work, I'm happy. As long as it work, I'm happy. No, I'm kidding. But at this very point, just make it work and then that's it. Right. But then now, when you dive deep into making it right, how do you make it right? So now, let's move on to making it right. Now we have made it work. It's not the best efficient app in the world. We can give you that, but now it's working, right? So now when you talk about to make it right, this phase is about ensuring that the code is maintainable. Your code is readable and your code is robust. Remember on our very, very, very first episode when we started out the tech cast and so forth, we talked about maintainability of the code, maintainability of your project. That is where things like scalability and also your architect and infrastructure comes in. You know what I mean? So now, and also the readability. Your code must be readable. You know what I mean? You're not writing a code for yourself only. You're writing a code whereby I, as a colleague or as another developer, I'm gonna have a look at it. I'm gonna have to review it, or maybe I'm gonna have to make some changes. Who knows? Maybe a few years down the line, I'll have to make some changes on that code. So the readability is very important in this case. You're making it right by making it readable. You know what I mean? And also, it must be robust. But then now, here's a catch. Why do I keep saying things like catch? This is not a catch. At this stage, now you are focusing on the code quality. Remember, we said make it work. We didn't care about efficiency. We didn't care about solid principle. We didn't care about any design patterns. We didn't care about all those clean code stuff and so forth. We didn't care about it at the first point whereby we're trying to make it right. Hey, no. When you try to make it work. You know what I mean? So, but then now, in this case, you're trying to make it right. Make what is working, make it right. It's working 100%, but now make it right. You know what I mean? So now you are focusing on the code quality. But then, what do you mean I'm focusing on code quality? Things like meaningful variables and function names. I don't know why I'm touching base on this, because I always struggle. To be honest, I always struggle with naming stuff. Naming functions is one of the worst thing. I feel like it's one of the hardest thing to do, but as you go along, you keep on, you learn when you learn. That's what I mean. Basically, that's what I mean. So it's very difficult. Sometimes you just struggle to name a function, don't know what to name it. But try to name a function. Try to have a function to have a name which is as meaningful as possible. You know what I mean? So if maybe, for instance, you're trying to process something, just say process something. That's the name of the function. If maybe you're trying to get something, maybe you're trying to get a limit, just say get limit. You know what I mean? If you're trying to say get available balance, just say get available balance. It's simple as that. And maybe if you're trying to see if it belongs to a certain bank, belongs to certain bank, or belongs to bank category or whatever. So I feel like it always helps to have functions or variables to have the meaningful weight as possible. You know what I mean? So now at this point, you are making it right by having those variable names, by having those function names to be so meaningful in such a way that if I'm reading your code, I can be able to follow it through and understand it. You know what I mean? And then now we're talking about diving into coding standards now. Obviously, each and everywhere you go, there are coding standards. They might be different, but there are mostly common similarities when it comes to coding standards. You know what I mean? So now in this case, when you're trying to make it right, you have wrote your functions and variables in such a meaningful manner, or they have meaningful weights or names to say. But then now it's a very good stage to start following the coding standards. Try to follow coding standards, and then that's it. And then you're trying to read. I feel like it's very important to write comments. I don't know I know some developers, they might not agree to this, but I think it's very important to write comments. I think that's what I think. That's what I believe. I think it's very important to write. I almost say Java talk, Java comments. now you know already I'm a Java developer, so Java is always on my mouth. Okay, so yeah, I think it's always helpful for me to read your code, and for someone else who might be interacting with your code, to write some comment. Just give me an explanation as to what is happening on this method. You know what I mean? And if it's taking in some parameters, just tell me what the parameter and so forth, what it's returning and all those, before I can even look at the code, so that I can have a clear understanding of what the method does. If you give me a very beautiful comment as to what this method does, by the time I get to the code, I know, or I understand the context of this code, so that it will be much easier for me to read your code and then understand, oh, here I'm doing this because I'm doing this because of this, and so forth and so forth. So you are checking because this and this and this and all those kind of stuff, So I feel like writing clear comments is very, very useful when you're trying to make it right. What are you making right? You're making your software right. You're making your code right. You're making your application right. That's it. You know what I mean? But now you're trying to have a well-structured code base now. Well-structured code base, because it is so painful when you come into a company or when you join a certain project. Maybe it's a project of you and your colleagues and friends and whatever. You're trying to follow through the code base, and it's very, very, very difficult to follow the code base. It's very painful. You know what I mean? Because each and every time there are high chances that there will be new people joining the team, there will be new people joining the project or the company and so forth. So imagine if you're joining a new project or a new company or a new team, you find the code base is very, very difficult to navigate to, and the code is very unreadable. Which means it's not right. The people who developed it, they didn't make it right. Then that's it. That's it. They didn't make it right. I want to start. I want to take these things and make them. How can I put it? I want to make them the core principles. I want to make them like the actual principles. If they are not, I want to try and push to make them the core principles, to say make it work, make it right, and make it fast. That's it. You know what I mean? I want to make this thing to be a thing. I want this to be a thing because I feel like I'm touching base into serious and important stuff. You know what I mean? Because now, if you have a well structured code base, it is easier to work with that code base and also to follow through. You know what I mean? In a long run, it's going to help you. Yeah, you are starting a project now on your own, but having a well structured code base is going to help you in a very, very, very long run. Given that maybe there are people coming in to add input in your project and people who are coming in to join your team. Let's say, for instance, you're working on your own project. Maybe you try to make it open source, or you try to hire people to come and work with you, maybe to work for you in any case. But then now having a well-structured code base is very, very important, because now you are trying to make it right. Make it right. How do I make it right? Have some coding standard as a developer. Write your functions and variables in a very, very meaningful manner. They have some meaningful names. Have a well-structured code base. That's it. Make it right. I'm sure, yeah, obviously, there are some other things which I might not mention, which are part of the make it right, but this is just an overview of what I think about this phrase, and I'm trying to make it a thing. So it's just an overview, man. Don't judge me too much. You know what I mean? And also make sure that your code is maintainable, is readable, and robust. And that's it. You are making it right. Your code is right, your software is right, your system is right. That's it. Now we've made it work, it's working. But after you've made it work, you have made it right now. It's right. It's okay. No, it shouldn't be okay. It should be right. And then after it's right, then now you're trying to make it fast. Lastly, we're trying to make it fast now. Okay. So when you're trying to make it fast, once your code works, it's working, and is well structured, which means it's right. You know what I mean? Now you can start optimizing the speed. You can start focusing on things like speed optimization and efficient. Because remember when you said you're trying to make it work, we disregarded the efficiency part at that point. But then now at this point, you're trying to make it fast. You're trying to make sure that you optimize the speed. You know what I mean? Now you're focusing on things like speed optimization, efficient. Maybe if there's some databases happening, some kind of stuff, DP optimization and so forth. I remember back in varsity, I did a module called algorithm optimization. Yeah, that was a very beautiful algorithm, because not algorithm, a module, because I was learning a lot of algorithms there, which will help mathematicians, solutions architects, systems architects, and solution developers, or system developers, or us as software developers and engineers, to write a fully optimal, is it optimal? Something like that. To write a fully optimal system or an application. Those were some important algorithms, and it was very, very interesting. And some of them, I'm using them in my day-to-day job or work. Some of them I'm not, but I try to implement them on my project, and they're working so perfectly fine for me. I don't want to dwell more on certain technologies to tell you use this, use Redis, use Catch, use so forth and so forth. I'm not gonna do that, because I don't want to start giving ideas as to what to use. I'm just making this an overview, just basically what I'm thinking. You know what I mean? So now you are making it fast, right? Optimization and efficiency is what you have in mind. This might also, maybe you might try to involve things like profiling your code to identify some certain bottlenecks and optimizing those areas. You know what I mean? Try to profile your code. But I think that's one of the most important things that I've ever worked with or worked on. But now, just to mention that, I feel like it's important to remember that premature optimization can become counterproductive. So now you're trying to make sure that you're optimizing the right part of your code. Don't try to optimize everything. Not everything needs to be optimized. You know what I mean? Because they're saying, I had this saying in my mind, but I just lost it. They're saying what? Uh, Shit. Oh, sorry. Okay, yeah, yeah. I forgot it. Too much of something's bad. I don't know. I can't. I'll post it. I'll post it. I'll post it once I remember it. You know what I mean? So that's basically it. Make it work, make it right, and make it fast. That's what I think about this, and that's what I'm trying to make. I think I'll have a T-shirt written, make it right, and not make it work, make it right, and make it fast. I think I'll have to create a T-shirt for that, and then that will be something else for Take Over Coffee. Take Over Coffee. Make it work, make it right, and make it fast. But I feel also it's something I need to touch base on because now you are in a software development phase. But then now in your software development, the key to success for you to do that is to maybe find the right balance. You know what I mean? Try to find the right balance among these three principles, such as making it right, making it work, and also making it fast. Try to make sure that you balance those things. You know what I mean? So you should always, not always, but you should prioritize making it work. That's it. Prioritize making it work. It should work. Make it work. It works. That's it. That's your priority at this point. If you're starting a new project, if you are starting a new code base as a developer, make it work. That's it. That's your priority. At the beginning, to make sure that or to ensure that you are delivering a value. Because now, if you waste a lot of time, so try to make it work and make it fast and make it right at the very same time, then you're never gonna get it. Try to make it work now, and then once it work, then dive deep or drill down to make it right. And then once it's right, drill down again to try and make it fast, and then that's it. That's it. Those are three phases which are very important in software development life cycle that I created for myself. I'm gonna start using them. Obviously, you've been using them, these things, I know, but then just that you didn't give them a name. You know what I mean? So you should always prioritize making it work first at the beginning to make sure that you're delivering a value. You know what I mean? And then now, when you try to make it right, making it right tries then it plays a very huge role because now it helps to maintain the code base's integrity and readability. Because I mentioned that code base must be very, very clean and readability and has beautiful structure. While making it fast, it fine tunes the performance. Obviously, at the end of the day, we want a fast performing application. You don't want the application to be slow. That's not what you want. Definitely, you want it to be fast. But before you make it fast, try to make sure that the code is readable so that by the time you try to implement those things for fastness, if there's any of it like that, then you know where to do those kind of stuff. You know what I mean? So, yeah, yeah, I think that's it. Just what I thought about this. Just decided to share it with you, and then I'm gonna start making it a thing, make it work, make it right, and make it fast. Those that can be a beautiful T-shirt to have. Just put some beautiful icons and then yeah, maybe it's gonna be part of Takeover Coffee. But definitely, I'm having a video session with this one, with this topic. I'm gonna have it myself, and then maybe I might invite a guest just for us to talk about this and have their perspective when it comes to this. But then, yeah, that's basically it. That's basically it. So, yeah, make sure that let me just remind you again, make sure that you make it work, make it right, and make it fast. But then these are not strictly a linear progress or process in that case, but I feel like you can just make it linear for now, but it's not strictly a linear, it's a continuous loop. This one is always a continuous loop because now, let's say for instance, you have made it right, you've made it work, and then you made it fast, and then there's something new which you need to implement in your application again. So try to make sure that that new thing you're trying to implement in an already existing application, make it work first, and then once it work, make it right, and then once it right, then make it fast. Definitely, that's it. So that is why I'm saying it's a continuous loop. So because as you keep on adding new features and making changes to your software, you will revisit these principles. Come on, you know what I mean? So it's not like you only do this once in such a way that the first time you deliver your application or the first time you build your application, you're gonna start following this principle. These principles, they are definitely a continuous loop. We're gonna keep on doing all these things, but the most important thing is to keep a clear perspective on where you are in the process to make informed decision. You know what I mean? Make sure that you understand the clear perspective of where you are in the process. Am I in the process of making it right? Don't try to mix these things, because now you're gonna try to make things fast only to find that they're not even working. They're not even right. You know what I mean? So you're just diving straight to making it fast, and you're gonna spend a lot of time trying to make things fast which are not even working. I mean, you know what I mean? But then yeah. So yeah. Without talking too much, thank you for tuning in. Take over coffee. I hope this episode helped you to understand the important. Okay, I'm not saying it's an important, but just to give you these new principles that I came up with, or that we came up with my colleague. Make it work, make it right, and make it fast. With all that being said, keep on coding, keep on innovating, and always strive to find the right balance. Until next time, thank you.